Josh Komen, welcome to my podcast.
It's great to be here, Dom. It really is. From the first time we spoke to being here in your studio, awesome to see the growth in you, man.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, you're a two-time guest. I went back and listened to our podcast yesterday. So this was around about 3 years ago. It was episode 25 of Runners Only with Dom Harvey. Now it's just called the Dom Harvey Podcast. I don't know how many episodes I've done now. I've stopped counting, but it's up near a couple of hundred.
Thousands.
But last time, can you remember the surroundings?
I do. It was Hagley on the Park, wasn't it? In your hotel room. And I hadn't met you before. I only knew a little bit about you, and I was quite apprehensive of what was going to happen. We walked up to the hotel room. There's clothes everywhere. Dirty laundry on the ground. Your little box, what's it called?
A roadcaster.
The roadcaster box on the table. It was just an intimate interview in your hotel room, mate. Kleenex tissues on the ground. No, I'm only joking.
He's embellishing.
No.
Yeah, well, it was. So that was in the early stages of the podcast, and there's a lot that's happened in actually both our lives since then.
Yeah, but it's amazing to see your growth, Dom, from the hotel room to here now. So thanks for having me on.
And, any time. I assumed, because you reached out to me and I assumed you were in Auckland for something else, and you were like, I may as well smash out a podcast while I'm here. You came up especially to do the podcast.
Yeah, it was funny because every time I've been in Auckland, you've reached out to me and said, hey, let's catch up. So we've caught up a couple of times and had a good conversation. And then you mentioned to me, hey, you should come on your podcast. And I turned you down. That's just me. Oh, I've already been on. Then I had a good chat to I'd say she's a friend now, Di Foster. And she's like, you don't turn that stuff down. She gave me a good kick up the arse. And then so I reached out to you to go, hey, man, I'm going to take you up on your offer. So, yeah. Absolutely.
Well, it's great to have you back on. Because there's video now as well. So people can, like last time there was no, I may have recorded some of it on my phone, leaning against the coffee cup. I can't even. But we've got cameras now, so people can get the full Josh Komen story experience.
Sure.
So, Josh Komen, who is he? Well, you were one of New Zealand's most promising middle distance runners, battled leukemia twice and endured years of grueling treatment, including a bone marrow transplant and various complications for that tried to take you out. Now you spread the importance of perspective, gratitude, and the importance of living life fully. Would that be fair?
Yeah. I mean, I just see myself as a word of encouragement to other people. I think I've got a responsibility to share the tools and things that I've acquired to help other people through their own difficulties in life. Yeah. So just a word of encouragement.
We will get through like everything you've been through from a health perspective. That all started in 2011.
2011, yeah.
Yeah. How are you now? Like physically, how are you today and in general?
That's a real good question, Dom. It really is. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Mentally, I'm really, really good. I'm really good because I have a perspective of where I've been and I don't ever want to lose that perspective because I understand, I wake up, what's the worst thing that could happen? I've been there. I know what could happen. However, I have this, wealth of gratitude within me. I'm just so grateful for everything that's coming into my life because I know how bad it can get. So mentally, I'm very good. However, my body, I do struggle with. I do have issues from my transplant. I acquired this graft rejection from my transplant, which we'll talk about later. And that gives me a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort. And I struggle with it a lot. Especially with my energy levels. My body's kind of glued together. So I really struggle, especially when I go to bed. A lot of people don't realise this, but during the day I might seem fine visually, but in the night my body kind of locks up. I have these convulsions, these spasms, these kind of cramps that really take a lot out of me. And then my eyes too. I mean, I don't produce tears, nor do I produce saliva, so I've had a lot of teeth pulled out. I've got this little thing in my hand, water. I have to keep drinking water all the time. I've had an amniotic membrane graft, which is a bit of placenta put in my eye to help heal my eyes because I visually couldn't see at the end of last year in my right eye. So I have a whole host of problems, but the physicality of myself, I really struggle with. But mentally, I'm very, very good because I've done a lot of work there.
So what's your life expectancy now?
I don't know. That's up to me to decide, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, physically, on a physical level, I see myself physically like a 50-year-old. But mentally, I feel like an 18-year-old. I feel great. I've got a young girl, and she just keeps me alive. She brings that inner child out of me. So on that aspect, I get to choose when I'm going to die. I mean, theoretically, not reality. So I see myself living as long as I can.
But are you in constant sort of pain or discomfort?
Yeah, discomfort's the word. I have a lot of pain in the evening, especially when my body locks up and if I exert myself too much. But even if I don't exert myself too much, my body can just turn on me. So I start to really lock up. So it's like wearing a wetsuit sometimes while there's some needles kind of pushing through. It is debilitating. However, I've got the mental aptitude to kind of override it now, slow down my respiratory rate, think more rationally. I'm okay. Got a perspective of gratitude of where I've been. It's not as bad as this. Keep going forward. You've got so much in your life. It's okay. Yeah.
It's a rough hand, though, eh?
It is a rough hand.
I mean, yeah, it'd be understandable if you had like moments or periods of self-pity.
Yeah, which I have had.
And you still do or no?
No, not anymore. No. I mean, I read a book, great book, and it's changed my life. I'm actually doing a diploma in his psychological methods called logotherapy, meaning therapy, through Viktor Frankl Institute. So I read Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, and that just changed my whole perspective. And it wasn't about a freedom from this disease. It was a freedom to. Where could I go? I had the freedom to choose where I wanted to go, and I have the freedom to choose my attitude. So my attitudinal change has changed me significantly. That's the freedom that I do have to choose my attitude in any given situation. Just like Viktor Frankl, when he spent 3 years in 4 different prisoner of war camps through the Holocaust. You know, he had an amazing positive attitude, and I get to choose that. So when the pain and discomfort comes, I can slow myself down and understand that I do have choice of my attitude and look at what I do have in front of me. I have more in my life than I could ever fathomed on. When I've been told that I could have died multiple times, and here I am alive, talking to a good friend now, Dom Harvey, on his podcast up in Auckland. How cool is that, man? You know, and that outweighs the pain and discomfort I carry.
That book, by the way, Man's Search for Meaning, one of my favourite books of all time. I can't tell you how many times I've purchased a copy of it, because it's you loan it to someone and then you know you're never going to get it back. I reckon I've probably purchased it maybe a dozen times, 15 times.
Yeah.
And so many guests on the podcast have referenced that book as well. Yep. For anyone that is perhaps just hearing about it for the first time, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, like what's the synopsis? How would you describe it?
Oh, it's finding basically meaning in the moment. We have a search for meaning. So Viktor Frankl he had the third pillar of Viennese psychology. So there was Sigmund Freud, he came up with the idea of will to pleasure, and Albert Adler, he had the will to power. So humans were driven by pleasure and humans were driven by power. But Viktor Frankl said, no, humans have an innate drive for meaning. We need to find meaning in our life. And meaning can be different from what you think and what I think. But we have moments of meaning all around us. And that's what Viktor Frankl was very good. And he proved his theory within the Holocaust, seeing people who had a meaning and a purpose within that, helping others, reaching out, helping other people, finding meaning. A bit like what you do. I mean, here's a good example. You go down and get your coffee at New World, but you're not going down there to get a coffee. You connect with an individual down there who you give a fright, and now you become a friend. See, there's meaning there. So that's meaning of the moment. You're not just going to get a coffee, but you're connecting with an individual.
Yeah, that's very charitable of you. I like to think I'm just keeping myself amused.
For sure. But it's a connection. You've made a new connection. Yeah. And that's what he thinks. That's what Viktor Frankl says, that we have an innate will to search for meaning within our life. And that could be small moments of meaning or big moments of meaning.
When did you first get introduced to that book?
From my first diagnosis, I was talking to my counsellor. When I was getting psychological help, he was really helped me, and he recommended that book, and I read it, and it just transformed my life.
Yeah, and now you're doing a diploma about it now?
Yeah, so I'm halfway through a diploma in the Viktor Frankl Institute. I have a clinical psychologist going through my papers, the self-reflective papers plus educational papers. I'm learning a lot, so yeah.
You ran 10 kilometres last year, eh?
Yeah, I did.
Why are you laughing? Just
the whole event, how it inspired and how it took a lot out of me.
Right. Yeah, because you, we'll get into the Josh Komen backstory, but like 10K for you pre-2011 was like no big deal. Like you probably wouldn't even bother lacing up for less than 10 kilometres. Yeah,
I was about a 31, 32 minute 10K runner. I wasn't a 10K runner per se, I was a track runner.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Middle distance, they
31,
call it.
32s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So how is that now? Like for you to get to the point where you can run 10 kilometres?
Yeah. It's hard to describe how grateful I am to run again when you've been told that you possibly couldn't. So I achieved that. However, I did push it a bit too much. running 10K, as I said about my body, how it locks up. You know, I was like this running orgasm towards the end. I was just trying to hold myself together. But I had a great crew around me. I had some real good support, and we were doing it for a phenomenal cause called Ranui House, a place that I spent a lot of time at that helped me out through a very difficult time. We can talk about that later. But there was real meaning behind it, why I was doing it. So the pain kind of diminished when I had the meaning associated to what I was doing. But yeah, it did take a lot out of me.
So 10K for you now would be like, say...
An ultramarathon.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
For someone else.
100%. Yeah.
And Ranui House, who you ran the 10K for, is that... You spent a long time there, like 400 days or something.
Yeah, 372 nights, yeah.
And is that where you considered it and almost took your own life?
Yeah, that was the place. So Ranui House, I mean, it provides accommodation. It's the largest provider for accommodation for patients and families that need long-term care. Most of those people are needing life-saving treatment. I stayed 372 nights there. And the cool thing about Ranui House stands for Big Warm House. It's for everybody. So it's not specifically for cancer patients or bone marrow transplant patients like myself. It's for everyone. If you had a car crash, if you're on dialysis, if you're having a premature birth, or you're spending time in ICU, I met a whole host of people, and meeting those people with different diagnoses and different medical issues really changed my perspective as well, because it wasn't just about me. So this is a great place for community and connection. Ranui House, it's got 61 apartments, the largest provider in South Island for patients and families. An amazing place. It really is a big warm house.
Oh, well, thank you for giving them the flowers they deserve.
Oh, they deserve so much, and no one's got a bad word to say. I mean, your health is impeded, but also too your finances are impeded as well. And you can stay there for free. They have monthly cooking. People come in and cook for you. There's always food in the fridge. It's an amazing place, and it's a real family-orientated organisation, Ranui House.
Does it get some government funding, or is it mainly just donations from...
Mainly donations. It's a charitable trust. So the charitable trust is called the Bone Marrow Cancer Trust. That trust was established in 1990. They established the first bone marrow unit for transplant patients like myself in 1991. And then that was the bone marrow unit. Then they created Ranui House because they showed that people needed long-term care. So they created Ranui House, got 26 more apartments, and now they've got 61 apartments at Big Ranui. So it's pretty awesome that there's got this housing complex, and it's like a motel, Dom. It's like you're walking into a 5-star motel. It's incredible. And you get to connect with individuals, and that's the special thing about it, because we know when families stay together, people heal faster.
Yeah, you love connecting with people, eh? Like whenever we catch up now, like it's never just a surface level conversation. It's never just small talk about the Warriors or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but yeah, you like to go deep very quickly with people.
Yeah, I do. I like to see who they are, what makes them tick. That gives me true meaning. I mean, even in my keynotes, I do my talk, but it's the ability to connect with individuals. I'm talking for 45 minutes to an hour, but then I listen. And I've managed to connect with some amazing individuals after these talks.
You weren't like that before 2011, eh?
No, I was means to myself. Head down, keep working, don't talk, get it done. Get it done. Yeah, get it done. Get it done.
Yeah, well, what would that Josh, pre-illness, think of Josh now?
I think he'd be very proud of himself to see the change and growth. Yeah, that's acquired through his own tragedies. Yeah,
it's incredible. So you mentioned bone marrow transplant, which makes you eligible for a thing called the Transplant Games. So you're going to Germany later this year to represent NZ.
I am. Yeah, so there's a team of 12 that are going to Germany and Dresden. It's amazing because 14 years ago, Dom, I got told, I thought my dream was dead, and I thought I was dying, being diagnosed with leukemia. One of the fastest 800-metre runners in New Zealand. My dream was to represent New Zealand. That was my dream since a kid, to own the silver fern. I love New Zealand. I just love it. And to see that dream taken away, it messed with me psychologically. I thought all the doors were closed. My dream was dead. I'm dying. What's the meaning of my life? What's the purpose? It's gone. So I've worked very hard to get myself back on my feet, running 10K, seeing my limits, finding my limits. I've found my limits, and now this opportunity has arisen called the World Transplant Games. It's really, really hard to qualify for, Dom. You have to have a transplant, mate. Yeah, so that's any transplant. That may be heart, that may be liver, that may be kidney, that may be a pancreas, that may be lungs. And for me, it's a bone marrow, my immune system. So I've qualified. And yes, the dream's come back alive to run in Germany, in Dresden, run the 800 metres for New Zealand. And the cool thing about it, Dom, this is the real special thing about it, is that we're in Dresden, in Germany, that's where my stem cells came from. So it's this full circle moment, just closing up. So 14 years later, where my donor donated his stem cells, where that city saved my life, this person, donated, selflessly donated. I get to go there, compete, and I think that's the ultimate thank you to everybody that's helped me in my life. The ultimate thank you to say, hey, your dream wasn't dead. You're not dying. You're alive, you're here, you still have opportunities. And now I have this dream, man, and it's so special, man, because it's a thank you to the medical staff that have helped me. It's, I've been through a lot. To my wife and daughter and my family and my friends, man.
You,
yeah.
I forgot the specifics of our first podcast from 3 years ago, but I re-listened to it yesterday to jog my memory, and that was a very emotional podcast as well. I think both you and I cried a few times in it. And something that I observed listening to it again, every time you get emotional, it's like gratitude tears.
Yeah, it is.
There's never any like self-pity tears or anything. You just get emotional when you're talking about your mum or your wife or just other people that have done like nice things for you.
You nailed it, and it becomes a prediction era, like here I am living this incredible life that I didn't think I'd ever have, wanting to take my life, and I've got life back, and the memories come back, and it just flashes through like a deck of cards, like all these people that have come in and helped you and given you words of encouragement, held your hand, put your arm around you, and it's really overwhelming. And maybe I'm on this podcast, and thank you sometimes doesn't do it justice. The word thank you, I've got a saying, let us love, not in word and speech, but in truth and action. So I'm trying to let my truth and action say thank you to the people. Hence, this Transplant Games is so meaningful to me. And I think that's the ultimate thank you, to say thank you to my donor, thank you to that medical staff and all the people that have helped me. It is. I do get emotional because that's what life's about. It's connection. That's the foundation of health. That's what I believe.
Yeah. Just for a bit of perspective. So, say 2010, when you're at the peak of your athletic powers, the best, if not the best, if not one of the best.
No. I was not the best. I was working my way.
Oh, you were right up there though, 800 metre specialist. And your 1500 metre time was like 350.
Yeah, 350. I was a 150 800 metre runner. I had 2 silver senior men's national silver men's in the 800 metres. 20 years old and 22 years old. But for me, coming from Greymouth, I was quite an unknown athlete. I was known in Canterbury, but I hadn't done much racing around the country. I made a move to Christchurch and my training got better. I got myself surrounded by good people. I was in a good environment. And this is where I knew, holy moly, my dream might come to fruition. I was training really well, hitting the times. I ran a sub 150 time trial and I was like, holy smokes. I got the #1 ranking in New Zealand for only for a few weeks, but I was so proud. I was like, this is my year, where I'm going to break through. But yeah, it was short-lived. It was short-lived. But yeah, I was a good runner, but I wasn't a great runner. I wasn't like a Sam Ruth or a Sam Tanner who are just phenomenal. I wasn't in that level.
Yeah, Sam Ruth, by the way, just to timestamp this conversation, the week that we're recording this, he just set the world record for being the youngest
15.
Youngest boy on the planet to run a sub 4 minute mile, 3 minutes 58, and he's 15, closer to 16 than 15, but still 15 years old. It's bonkers.
It's incredible, the
It's crazy.
But the support, it might be a good guest to get on. Craig Kirkwood, the coach, he helps out. Hayden Wild, Sam Tanner, Sam Ruth, he's got a good group going.
Yeah.
New Zealand athletics is really alive and running. Excuse the pun.
Yeah. So 2010, your 800 metre time was 1:50, which is lightning quick. What would you do for 800 metres at the Transplant Games?
Probably about maybe just over 4 minutes, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, I ran a mile here. I ran a mile the other day. It was 8 minutes, 41 seconds. Yeah.
So Your morning routine now, do you have like a specific morning routine?
Yep, I do. Yeah.
What do you do? Oh, you're obviously out of town at the moment.
Yep.
You're staying in Auckland overnight, so it's probably out. But what do you generally do Monday to Friday?
Yeah, Monday to Friday, it's cold exposure. I've got an outside shower, I've got an ice bath, so I'll titrate between a cold shower or an ice bath, depending on how I'm feeling. And then got my feet on the ground, do some breathing, some nice slow breathing, nasal breathing, sit there for a bit, just go through my life, where have I been? Moment of gratitude, I do some stretching and some more breathing exercises. Yep.
Every damn day?
Every damn day. That's been my routine. Even today, I was in Vic Park, I went for a bit of a walk with my bare feet, doing some breathing, did some stretching, had a cold shower, not an ice bath. But yeah, most of the days. Yeah.
And the gratitude practice, which has been such a huge cornerstone of your life, what is that? Is it like the same stuff every day, or do you try and do different stuff?
Yeah, to be fair, it's more so of a prayer of thank you, of just where I am in my life right now, and it could be short, but it's not a practice of gratitude. I mean, I live gratitude, I really do every day, but it's just a reflection of here I am. I'm in a lot of discomfort in the morning, so I'm just trying to override that discomfort with a prayer of thanks. I'm still here, I'm still alive, I've still got opportunities. Let the day present itself, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get better at that. Because it's so important. But even sometimes I find you just you're wanting more, and you're not thankful for what you already have when you already have a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like a real weird thing, but I'm just trying to sort of center myself with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that you want more and want to be better, for sure, but sometimes it's nice to just reflect and stand still and look how far I've come, from a hotel room to Dom Harvey podcast in your studio. It's nice to reflect on that and just say, hey, even though I want to get there in the future, just acknowledge where I am right now.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Oh, some other stuff that's happened since we last connected for a podcast in that hotel room. At the time, your wife was 8 months pregnant. You're now a dad.
Yeah.
How old's your daughter now?
She's 2.5.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you're on TV. I think it was like 7 Sharp or The Project for the New Zealand record for the longest ice bath.
Yeah, that was an awesome event. It really was. Yeah. Had my family there, the daughter, everyone, some really good mates. We did a fundraiser for Ranui House, which we just spoke about. It was the unofficial New Zealand record for an ice bath. So it was a hyperbole statement to get media attention, which it did. And shout out to the New Zealand public, man. They just got behind us. We managed to raise just over $100,000 for Ranui House, a home away from home for many patients who need long-term care. Just incredible. So, yeah, had my wife there. My wife and friend don't get a lot of credos here. So they were next to me in an ice bath. Hamish and my wife Sybil, they did 20 minutes. It was the coldest day in Christchurch, I think, for 14 years in a March calendar year. It was 4 degrees outside. The ice bath was 0.8. My wife, she shot upstairs, was breastfeeding my beautiful daughter a milky ice shake. And amazing event. Yeah, so thank you for the New Zealand public for getting on board and helping out Ranui House.
How long were you in the ice for?
I was in there for 21 minutes. Yeah, it's like a frozen little whitebait in there, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that, well, that's how your daughter was created. Like she spent the first 11 years of her sort of life as a frozen sperm.
Yeah, she did. She was on ice for a very long time. She's the ice queen, mate.
That's funny. Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll go all the way back to the very beginning. So paint a picture of Josh Komen, like pre-illness. Who was he? Typical coaster?
Yeah, typical coaster.
Staunch, hard?
Staunch. I had a good contrast between two parents. My dad was a hard-working man. He come from a difficult place. He had a very hard childhood. And my mum was just this loving, caring soul. So it was kind of this hard determination, work hard, and this kind of care for other people. So I had that from my mum and dad.
But your mum was definitely more the nurturer.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, my dad didn't have a very good parenting manual, spent many years in an orphanage. My grandfather came out from Holland, post-war Nazi regime, occupied in Holland, come out. He had a gun pointed towards his head, set up a farm in Wataroa, had 5 kids. His wife passed away at 32, sent his kids to an orphanage where a lot of things occurred. My dad didn't have the best parenting manual, but what he did have, what he wanted to give me, was opportunities that he never had. So he worked hard. So I never really saw my dad, and he'd love to hear this too, because he thought he got portrayed as the arsehole last time in the podcast. But he's a great guy.
On this podcast? Yeah. Oh, did he?
No, he's a great guy, but he didn't have the best parenting manual, and he would admit that he wasn't the best father. But he was trying to give me opportunities that I didn't see. But me being a kid, I didn't see that. You just want your dad's attention. But he was working. Now we connected through my through my diagnosis, and I got to understand his past. So
Yeah, and in some ways, I suppose him just working his ass off was his way of showing love.
100%,
putting food on the table for the family.
Absolutely. And I credit the man so much from where he's been to where he's come, what he's developed. And marrying my mum, you know, was the best thing that he did. Yeah.
Also, from like a generational perspective, you know, that vulnerability piece was never there with that sort of generation. Was he able to tell you that he loves you, or no? Not. Was it like had show you love with actions rather than actually saying the words?
No, he did. He
Really?
did. Yeah, he did. But then it's kind of contrasting as a kid when you get disciplined in a physical way. So, and it's like, did you mean that? As a kid, you don't understand that, but that's just what he knew. That's totally fine, you know. And we laugh about stuff, mate. He's great. And you know, to be fair, he wants me to make this comment too. He was with my sister in Brisbane, and his little granddaughter, my niece Ivy, looked up at him and said, "Oh, I just want to be like you, Granddad. I love you." And Dad's like so proud. So yeah, love you, Dad.
How with you taking the lead with you know, being open and vulnerable and having these
No, Dad took the lead on that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, man. Yeah, because I closed the door, didn't want to talk, but he come into the room, and he said, you know, he said a quote that I use actually. He goes, "You're not using all his strength unless you ask for help," and he's crying, and he just showed himself, and I was like, holy shit.
Was that the first time you saw him cry?
First time I really saw him cry. Yeah, with real empathy and love, and it's like, man, and then we just started communicating. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can tell the way you talk about him with love, and you know, I think every generation does the best they can with the resources they have.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a small minority for sure, but Dad was amazing. He really was. From where he came from, and what he's got now. Love the man. Yeah.
So you were quite a renegade, eh? Like you were like a bad, always nude. No, arrested for indecent exposure twice.
Yeah, I got arrested a couple of times. I mean, that's the beauty of living in a small town community. They know who you are, so
they can recognise you by your testicles.
No, not now, mate. Not now. No, I suppose, I mean, I didn't drink too much, but when I did drink, I was all in, and I just turned into a completely different person. It was the guy, oh, JK will do that, JK will do that. And that's what I did, you know, I'd take my clothes off, run around, you know, have a laugh. But yeah, I wasn't a renegade or a bad person. I just liked to laugh and have a good time.
Just a larrikin.
A larrikin, yeah.
Yeah, but you obviously were quite disciplined as well. Like, you don't get to run, you know, like a 1 minute 50-second 800 metre without some sort of like serious training and discipline.
Yeah. I was very determined, very focused on my goals. I mean, growing up, I knew I had a talent in running, and I loved it. It was like a moving meditation for me. I just love running. And coming from a hard-working background from the coast, I wanted to be the hardest of the hardest workers, if that makes sense. You know, so I wanted to prove myself on that aspect. So I was very determined. Then my mum got me this book called The Winner's Bible by Kerry Spackman. Really cool book at the age of 19, and started visualization processes, all these kind of mental techniques to help me get better. And it really helped me. So I had kind of that drive, but also I was looking for other methods to help me achieve my goals. Yeah, so I was very determined, very focused for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, what was your big goal? Like, what did you see yourself doing? Commonwealth Games, Olympics potentially?
Yeah, first goal was to just join the Silver Fern, win a national title, then hopefully, you know, represent New Zealand, maybe Commonwealth Games, and then maybe the Olympics. Who knows? That was the dream. Who knows? But that was the dream as a kid growing up. Yeah,
you follow the steps, and where it takes you is sort of unknown to a degree.
Yeah.
What about work? What did you want to do for work?
Yeah, I always wanted to be a physio. Yeah, that's what I wanted to be. But Dad's like, no, you're playing up too much at school. You got to go get an apprenticeship. I became a line mechanic. I worked on power lines, and it was the best thing that I did. Worked for a great company called Electronet in Greymouth. Great company, really looked after me, and I got a lot of responsibility. At 20 years old, I was organising jobs, organising helicopters to come in and fly wire. It was a hard-working job, but I loved it. I really did. Yeah, but when I was growing up, I did want to be in the medical system. I wanted to be a physio.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
And then, so 2011, you're 23 years old, and that's when you start to get unwell. How does that look?
Yep, so I had one race for that season, got that #1 ranking for a brief time. Just in incredible form, the best form that I've been in, kind of stopped drinking, really focused. And then after that race, I was out running in Hagley Park, running with a guy called Andrew Davidson, sprained my ankle, just wouldn't heal. So New Zealand champs were at the end of March, couldn't compete, ankle wasn't healing. My body was kind of deteriorating a bit. Christchurch earthquakes happened, so I moved back home to Greymouth for a bit just to recuperate. Entered a bike race, collapsed halfway through the race, like fell off my bike. I was just depleted, but that determination kicked in, finished the race, and I was just in bedridden for about a week, night sweats, hallucinations, and I knew something wasn't right. Went to the doctors, they just gave me antibiotics, no blood test. My eye swelled up. I had this leukemic eye. My eye swelled up. I collapsed at the sink. My brother picked me up, got my auntie round. My mum took me up to hospital, and I knew something wasn't right. Yeah, and that's when the next day I was admitted that night, had some fluids, some more antibiotics. They took bloods that night, and then the next day my world just turned upside down.
Yeah, turned upside down and was turned upside down for how many years?
I was in and out of hospital for about 10 years, just over 10 years. Yeah.
It's fucked, eh? It's fucked, eh? Like
it's
your
crazy.
entire 20s, really.
Yep. Yeah.
23 to 33.
Yep, it was, yeah. Yep.
Your attitude is so... there's a quote that I heard from you. I've got a life I couldn't even fathom when I was 23. As you can see, I've been pretty lucky.
Yeah, been very blessed. I'll change that luck to blessed. I have, yeah, with the outcome and what I've got and the people in my life and what I've seen and the connections that I've made. And I don't think I would have had those authentic connections, as we spoke about before, through my own hardships and trials and tribulations. Yeah.
Can anyone develop that sort of glass half full attitude?
100%. Everyone can. Yeah, 100%. Everyone can think positively. Everyone's got the freedom to choose, like Viktor Frankl said. Even in a Holocaust, he had the freedom to choose his attitude and positive mindset, and he did. Everybody has that ability. It's just a choice. Yeah.
How vivid for you is the moment when you got told you have leukemia?
Yeah, the whole 10 years is pretty vivid, Dom. I never want to lose it, to be fair. I don't. That's my perspective.
Is it hard for you to revisit, though?
It has been, but I've done a lot of work on that. I mean, we had our first conversation together. I just broke down in tears. So for me, it's more acceptance around it, that I'm okay, safe. Things are good. So it's just understanding that emotion a bit better. Doing this diploma, having this Anne-Marie Neal in Boise, Idaho, helping me out. It's been fantastic. So, yeah, I mean, I remember that day vividly. It was a torrential day on the West Coast, mate. She was pissing down.
Well, that's a shock.
Mate, we've had the best summer this year in New Zealand. Doesn't rain that much on the coast, team. No, but it was. And then I was in hospital, I was about to go overseas with some friends for a bit of an adventure. And I rang up my mates and said, I'm probably not going, I'm in hospital. And then the next day, my family come in with this concerned look on their face. And I was like, what's going on? My dad, my mum, my brother, my sister, and then my uncle. And then the doctor was there. And he said, you're not going overseas, you're going to Christchurch. I was like, okay, that's strange. He's got, you got leukemia. And I had no idea what leukemia was. I mean, even the word sounds confusing, and I had no idea. But what I did see was my mum just break down in tears, and that just tore me apart. I'm like, what the heck's happening? I had no idea. Just seeing my mum cry just broke me. So, am I killing my mum? But I was the one that was dying, and I had no idea what treatment looked like. So I got sent to Christchurch to the bone marrow unit to receive about 7 to 8 months worth of chemotherapy. And for me, being that fit, fast athlete, when I saw people with cancer, I thought that was a death sentence. I had really no education around cancer, that a lot of people do survive and thrive in life. But I thought, cancer, death sentence, mum crying, far out, what's happening? So I just shut the door. That strong, determined Josh, I'm going to start this race, I'll finish myself, get it done.
What were your emotions like in the first few days?
Just confusion, Dom.
Yeah.
There was no real tears. I didn't cry for a while until I was in Christchurch in the bone marrow unit after my first round of chemotherapy. The hardest part about that was being locked up in isolation for a month at a time, not being out in nature, not being able to run. I saw my mates running past because you have a big window looking out to Hagley Park, and you can see your mates run past and just missing out on that. And then seeing myself in the mirror, man, my body had just completely stripped itself away. And that just hit me hard, like, who the fuck am I? I can't run, I'm so tired, I'm fatigued, I'm spewing up, I'm shitting myself, these nurses are wiping my bum. I've never experienced that pain before. And then the mental pain stepped in, and it was so difficult. It was extremely difficult to try and navigate that time by myself. And as my dad's saying, you're not using all your strength unless you're asking for help. I needed to ask for help, but I didn't know how. I didn't know how.
How did you reach that point? Was it just out of necessity? It's like, I've got to ask for help? Or,
Yeah, I mean, I was in a complete desperate situation. So had that diagnosis.
Because I'm guessing there's probably like a lot of people listening to this or watching this that have walls up, maybe not for health reasons like you did, but they're just not sure how to open up, or how to take that first step.
Yeah, I mean, when you're feeling conflicted or confused or confined, that's the moment to just connect with somebody. And if someone can connect, they don't have to have answers, but just listen to you talk. It's very cathartic. And then if it's too much, we've got great psychological help in New Zealand. We've got great organisations, great counsellors that can reach out and maybe apply some tools to help you through that process. So even just connecting with a friend that you trust, someone to talk to share the load, just to share the load. Talk about it. Maybe you can think about it a bit more rationally. But if you're feeling confused and conflicted, reach out, have a chat to somebody, anyone.
Who did you first open up to?
The nurses were great, but I wouldn't fully open up. The nurses were fantastic. We've got some amazing medical staff in New Zealand, Dom. We really do. They're more than nurses.
If you can't open up to a lady that's been wiping your ass, who can you open up to?
I know, man. Michaela Jamison, thank you.
Someone give Michaela Jamison a pay rise.
Yeah. She's, not just her, but a whole host of people. So I had 2 to 3 months of chemo, my body stripped away. I'm looking at myself, who am I? What the fuck's going on? So confused, not talking to anybody. I mean, talking little bits and pieces, but not telling them the full picture.
Yeah, just putting on a mask.
Putting on a mask, for sure, yeah. Putting on a brave face. And then it just got too much, Dom. It got too much. I struggled to go up the stairs. I'd always try and walk, to try and keep my body moving when I was at Ranui House, but I was just too much. And seeing my friends come in and go about their life just hit me. And I had no perspective at that time. I didn't. No tools. And then I thought, fuck, my mind's out of control. My body's out of control. What can control I do? What control can I take? And that was to take my life. I thought about taking my life, like really considering taking my life. So I walked to the balcony and I was there. And I was like, this is it. Everything's out of it. You don't know what to do. And I stepped up and I felt the wind hit the side of my face, the right hand. I remember it vividly. And I turned around. And I saw my mum's cup of tea there and it just hit me hard. Hit me hard. I couldn't put the pain I was feeling on my mum. I couldn't put that on her. Imagine her life without me. Couldn't do that. So that was rock bottom. I stepped away and I still remember it, Dom. I had my fingernails pierced through my bald little head just screaming, what the fuck's going on, man? You got to do something. The cool thing is in New Zealand, we have amazing charities in the cancer realm that reach out and look for help, but I always pushed it back. So Canteen, there's a lady called Sarah. She would come in, do you need any help? And I'd always say, no, I'm good. So I made the phone call to her. I said, listen, I am no good. I need help. And she hooked me up with the counsellor. Yeah, so that was the first time that I really reached out for help. But it had to get that far, unfortunately.
When did you tell your mum about that?
I think she always knew what was going on. She always knows. Mums have this intuition. And she'd always turn up. Mum's always there. And that's a blessing to my mum that she's seen so much, Dom. She always knew, but she probably didn't know how to act upon that, because if she suggested it, I would say, no, I don't want that. For me, being that stubborn, determined person, I probably had to get that point to reach out for that level of help.
Yeah.
But anyone who has that stubborn, masculine attitude that I don't need help, and you're feeling that way, just make a conversation with someone. Just make that first step. They don't have to have the answer. If they're a great friend, they'll listen to you and just talk. Just get it off your shoulders. Yeah.
Thanks, mate. That's really powerful stuff. If you knew then, if someone said to you, because this is like round 1 of leukemia, right? This is what we're talking about now.
That's round 1. Yeah.
This is the chapter 1 of the whole 10-year misadventure. If you knew then what you were in for, like over the next decade, do you think you would have jumped?
No, I wouldn't have jumped. No, I would have came back. I could not, as I said before, I couldn't put the pain of what I was feeling on my family. Imagine then living with the notion that I took my life, that there could have been an opportunity for me to heal and get better. And as I said, it did. Like my life transformed dramatically, even though I was about to go through harder stuff than that, physically harder. I would put my hand up and say, take me through that pain to get what I have right now. Because when one door closes, so many more open if you're willing to persevere through that pain. I truly, truly believe that. If one door shuts, more can open. When opportunities are shunted away, opportunities can open. If you're consistent every day, turning up, doing some work, finding new things, I truly believe that things can transform in a positive manner, just like Viktor Frankl, just like a guy called Louis Zamborini in World War II when he was in a prisoner of war camp in Japan. Things change for the better if you choose your attitude, if you communicate, if you connect with individuals. Things will get better and new opportunities will beckon for you.
That's really powerful stuff. It's really helpful.
I mean, it means a lot to me because when I hear people take their life at a young age or an older age, it's like there's moments of meaning for you out in the future. There's so much. Everyone has something to offer in this world. And it can close down so quickly. And the aperture just narrows and narrows. And I know that. I've felt that multiple times. But having that courage to continue, finding that within yourself, connecting with others, I call it my ABCs, you know, attitude, belong, connect, and communicate. Get that foundation. Get that foundation.
Yeah, because it's a permanent solution for what is always a temporary problem.
Temporary problem, Dom.
And there's that saying...
and it was a temporary problem in my issue. It really was. I mean, as we spoke before, the Transplant Games, what the heck?
Yeah.
More meaningful than what it would be representing New Zealand at the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's something quite poignant about it, isn't there?
It is. And it's turning a tragedy into an absolute triumph. It's showing people that through my actions, things can change for the better. Even when you're in the worst situation, things can change for the better. Yeah.
So you get through the round one of leukemia. Ding, ding, ding. is that when you get some sort of normal life back and you go to Nepal and you do some skydiving?
Yes. Yeah. So I had 8 months of treatment, very confused, but I'm talking and communicating. And I spoke to a lot of people that I trusted, good friends, not everyone, not going out to the world saying, hey, this is what happened. Found a few people, and I just used to go out into the surf. I used to surf a little bit, and I just, you know, pray or meditate, just think about life, where I've been through. You know, at the start of the year, I was one of the fastest in New Zealand, then one of the sickest, wanted to take my life, didn't know what was going on. So just, you know, just reconciling myself, trying to find my way, trying to find meaning from that moment. And then I got a phone call from a friend called Ben Wallace. We can talk about him soon. Good mate. He rings me up. He goes, hey, man, do you want to go to Nepal? It's been a bit of a childhood dream that we spoke about when growing up. I said, mate, you're kidding. No way. I can't do that. Just been through all this stuff. And then I was out in the surf one day. Sun was on me. And I thought, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You got to get out there and seize these opportunities. So I broke down that fear barrier, rang him up. I said, yeah, man, let's do it. Yeah. Let's do it.
What are the oncologists or medical experts you're dealing with? They okay with that?
They were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a great doctor called Peter Ganley. He's just like, go out and live your life, Josh. There was always a high chance of me relapsing.
Was there? Why? Just the nature of that?
Just the nature, because, yeah. So you have chemo, but there's maybe leukemic cells that haven't been completely destroyed by the chemotherapy. So there's always a chance of relapsing. And I had quite a poor prognosis. So I had this kind of genetic mutation called a FLT3 inhibitor, and that put me in a poor prognosis. So I had a high chance of relapsing. But he basically said, go out and live your life. He was great. Yeah.
Yeah, so you were well enough to travel.
Yeah, I was, and that's from the running background. I did recover quite well. Yeah, having that higher aerobic and anaerobic threshold helped me recover. Yeah.
And you did a trek to base camp?
Yep. So I said to my mate, let's do it.
How was that in terms of like the altitude and your breathing and?
Yeah, it was very difficult. I did get sick. I got sick a lot. I mean, I got the delly belly, you know, the bacteria in my stomach. You know,
had to wipe your own ass.
Yeah, I was asking Ben, do you want to come and wipe me? He wasn't looking at me, man. No, but he helped me through it. And we got to base camp, and it was a real meaningful moment. Just being up there with my mate at base camp with my grey mouse singlet on. You know, it was great. Then we climbed up to Mount Kalapatar. I think Mount Kalapatar is about 18,500 feet, and Mount Cook's about 12,300 feet. And
did you get nude up there, or am I imagining it?
No, we were about to, but then we got told that's a big insult because it's a real sacred site. So we're like, no. So
Who stopped you? Who told you off?
some of the trekkers there, they gave us a tap on the shoulder, a polite tap, and we're like, yeah, fair enough.
How was it in the greymouth singlet though? Is it fucking freezing?
It was cold.
Yeah.
When we went to Mount Kalabata, I think that's one of the coldest days I've ever experienced, the wind and all the snow around. But it was awesome. We got to watch the sunrise over Mount Everest, wave to Sir Ed up there. You know, it was really, really cool. It's just a real moment of meaning for me.
Yeah, extra special, I guess, being in that part of the world, being a Kiwi as well, with the connection to Sir Ed.
They love New Zealand. Yeah, and the Nepalese people just changed my perspective. I mean, I got into Kathmandu, and this really transformed my life as well. Seeing this was my first overseas experience, so I got into the tuk-tuk and I was driving down the road, and then I saw these kids playing in rubbish. Some were naked, some just had their underwear on, and they were playing in rubbish in this puddle. And they looked up at me with these big, beautiful white smiles and just waved, and I was like, "Fuck, man, how good did you have it? You suffered in the best conditions, and these kids had absolutely nothing, but yet they were making the best of their situation, having a great time." And it just shifted my whole perspective that I had. I lived in New Zealand in this great medical system, getting adequate treatment, had food, everything like that. I suffered in good conditions, but these kids were making the best of what they had. Just hit me, man. Just changed my perspective that I visually saw it. Yeah.
There's that saying, comparison is the theft of joy, but I like to say, like, you can compare down and you actually don't have to look that far to see someone that is a whole lot happier with a whole lot less.
Yeah, I mean, comparison can be the words of encouragement. It can be. I mean, if you're comparing yourself to what don't I have, but what don't I have, what do I have? You know, what do I have in front of me? And these kids had rubbish in front of them, a couple of their mates playing in a puddle, and they were making the best of it. You know, and I thought my life had been taken away because I'd been diagnosed with cancer. You know, I wasn't making the best of my situation. I wasn't making adequate choices. I wasn't choosing the right attitude. I wasn't connecting. I wasn't communicating. You know?
Yes, so were you well for a while? Were you feeling well?
Yeah, I was feeling well. I did recover well.
Did it feel like there was a shadow looming behind you, though, that it was going to come back? Or
no, I never had a thought it was coming back. I had a positive mindset that I'm going to go out and embrace life. Just any opportunity that comes my way, I'm going to take it. What Josh Komen wanted to do, he was going to do it. And I had two things that I really wanted to do since I was a kid. And one was go to base camp, and the other was to become a professional skydiver.
And you did both?
I did both.
Yeah, how many jumps?
I ended up doing about 210, I think.
Did you do a nude one?
No. I didn't. I did one in my underwear, though.
That's close enough.
Yeah, so the etiquette in skydive world is called the Hundy Undies. So on your 100th jump, you have to jump out in your underwear.
Oh, it's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. New Zealand's the only place in the world that has a diploma for commercial skydiving. It's pretty cool.
So you were fully getting on with your life, eh?
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like you had this brush with death and you thought, fuck, that's it. I got to live like I'm dying.
Yep, exactly. Yep, I did. I had this brush with death and I thought, man, I just got to take the opportunities. From that moment when I was out in the surf, you know, I was a bit fearful of what I couldn't do, but it just hit me like that wind hit me on the balcony. It was like intuitive, like just go out there and live it, man. Just go do some cool stuff. And I did. However, there was one incident. We didn't speak about this on the podcast. I don't think I've spoken about this. However, we finished that base camp trek. And my mate, Ben, we went to Koh Phi Phi in Thailand to just rest and recover. And in Koh Phi Phi, it's a bit of a party island, and you have these buckets full of whiskey and vodka, and it's all mixed up. See, I hadn't drunken for a long time. And as I said earlier, when I drunk, you know, I just turned into a completely different person. And this is the first time I really drunk. I didn't even drink a full one of these buckets. I drank about maybe a quarter, and I just completely lost it. Completely lost control of myself, and I went over to this bush, urinated. I don't know what happened. So my mate Ben tells it the best. I got whacked over the head with a stick, like whacked down. And Ben saw it, comes over, hits the guy. Once he hits him, 10 to 20 Thai guys come and grab Ben and just beat the shit out of him. Like, it was bad. He was blood-covered face, tooth knocked out, had to have an operation when he got back to New Zealand. And luckily I'd met some friends that morning because I went diving. I had my diving ticket, made some friends who were New Zealanders, and they helped us get out of that situation because they knew the locals. They just pulled us out, got us out. Credit to them. However, I had this epiphany the next day. I was like, what the fuck are you doing, man? This is a disrespect to the opportunities that you've been given. Completely out of control, and I couldn't help my mate. So I chose then not to drink again. That was my choice then. So I haven't drunk for about 13 years from that moment. Yeah, because I couldn't help my mate.
It wasn't your fault though, really.
No, it wasn't my fault, but I made the choice to drink. And I knew that I probably wasn't ready to drink that much for sure, but I was out of control and I put my mate in a life-threatening situation. Wasn't cool. And we laugh about it now. We do laugh about it. But still it hit me hard and I felt so bad. I had given this opportunity of life again, an extension of life, and I just completely disrespected it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like a literal hit over the head is what you needed.
No, that's exactly it, Dom. Yeah, a literal hit over the head. However, it put my mate in jeopardy.
Yeah.
It did. Yeah, and that wasn't cool. Yeah.
So this all paints like an interesting picture of who you are. So you have this, brush with death with leukemia, and then you're doing this extreme stuff, a couple of hundred skydives, you're diving, you're climbing to base camp, just partying hard until you're not anymore. Then when do you start to feel unwell again? How long do you get? How long of sunshine do you get?
13 months. It was exactly 13 months that I had a window of opportunity per se. Yeah. So I was skydiving. I was jumping out of a plane. We went to high altitude. We went to 18,000 feet. When I was jumping with my mate Ivan, jumped out, and I got severely hypoxic, meaning low oxygen saturation. So I didn't have enough red blood cells to accumulate that oxygen in my body, and I saw 1, then 2, then 3, and it was like 20 of them up there. And I just pulled my parachute quickly, just pulled it and then spiraled down, sat on the ground, and I just looked at my hands and I had these purple spots, which indicated low platelets, which I had last time. And instantly I knew what was going on. My cancer had come back.
Yeah, how's that? What, like, were you sort of like expecting it so you weren't surprised, or were you just like a massive punch in the guts?
No, I was like, okay, cool. I've done some cool shit. I've lived up to myself. I made a choice to not drink again due to my values, and I was living an authentic life that I was living. So I was grateful, and if I died, cool. That was okay.
You're at peace with it.
I was at peace with it, but I still wanted to live, if that made sense. I didn't want to die, but if it did happen, that was okay. I did the best with what I had in my life. I'd kind of accepted, the running part of it, that I hadn't represented New Zealand or achieved what I needed to achieve, even though I was on the fringe. It was like, hey man, you did the best with what you had, and that's what I was grateful for, very happy for. So yeah, I waited for a bit. I waited for my annual doctor's appointment, which was 5 days away, and then I got my diagnosis. I wasn't too emotional, but I didn't understand the physicality of what I was about to go through. So mentally, I was more prepared. I really was, but I wasn't really prepared for the physicality of what was going to occur.
So you thought it would just be the same again?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be very similar, but this was going to be completely different from having an allogenic stem cell transplant. Yeah.
Is this around the time you ended up in a coma for 10 days?
Yep, it was the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a disclaimer here too, if anyone's lining up for an allogenic stem cell transplant, it doesn't have to be as hard as this. People do have really good outcomes. I just want to put that out there. Yeah.
Do you want to have a sip? It feels like
I've been sipping away, man.
You keep going to have a sip and then I'll ask you a question. The last thing I want is you drying up. Yeah, because you mentioned before, so you don't produce tears and you don't produce saliva.
Adequate saliva, no. So when I carry this fella a little water bottle everywhere I go. It's not my best mate.
Yeah, what do you say when you do like keynote speeches? You say it's like a condom or something.
Oh, no. I got asked a couple of times, Dom, like, at the end at Q&A, what's it in your hand? Someone said, I said to use condoms. I was like, man, no. So, and someone's asked, is that a vape? Am I vaping while I'm talking? No. It's just water in a silicone drink bottle.
Do you have to pee a lot? Because you're taking in so much water?
Oh, it's just normal, I suppose.
Yeah.
Not as much as my daughter.
Okay, so you get sick again, round 2 of leukemia. Then, what happens? Run us, like, in terms of the treatment and stuff.
So obviously they call it salvage treatment. Salvage whatever they can with what I've got. And I'm in line for an allogenic stem cell transplant, which basically means my immune system would have to come from somebody else. So our immune system's derived from these special cells called hemopoietic stem cells. They live in our bone marrow and they create like our red blood cells, our white blood cells, our platelets and plasma. So it's like the factory house to make our blood. So that would have to come from somebody else. My siblings weren't a match. That's the best match you can get. If you've got a twin donor, that's the best match you can get. If you've got sibling donor, that's the best match. But then I had a mismatch. So they do this tissue typing to kind of type my DNA profile to her, to the donor. And they didn't find one at the start. I had two rounds of chemotherapy, and during that time I developed neutropenic sepsis, which is a bacteria in the blood, and that put me into intensive care unit. And, they told my parents that, hey, he might not wake up here. Potentially he could die. I had a friend from Invercargill, Callum Baker. He passed away in that situation, unfortunately. I was in that situation, and God willing, I did wake up after 10 days.
Is this the moment where, like you say, you farewell to your parents because you're not sure if you're going to see them?
I don't say farewell. I'm in a coma. I can't talk. I can't remember that 10-day period, but my family are coming up to say goodbye.
Where's the moment where your dad lets rip?
That's it. So my sister tells a story. I only know the story through my sister. Yeah.
Is your dad okay with this?
Yeah, he's fine. He's great.
Some light relief.
My dad is very sensitive, so he was very reluctant to come up. He didn't want to see me in that situation, but he got called up, come up and you got to, say goodbye and that. So there was, I think from my sister's story, 3 doctors, a couple of nurses, very specialist doctors. Mum says goodbye, emotional, sister, brother, goodbye, and then Dad's turn. He's got the builder's crack hanging out. Bends over, goodbye, son, and just lets out a howler. the doctors are like, is that how you say goodbye to your boy? He's a good man. We love you, Pete.
It's great light
my dad said if anything he wants to be remembered by, he wants a lot of laughs at his funeral. So as long as we're laughing, we're living.
Farts are funny.
Yeah.
Farts are funny.
It was just this awkward, serious moment that just,
So, and what do they tell you is the prognosis at this time? Like, is it 50-50 chance of survival? Do they give you like a percentage, or do they give you like a life expectancy or anything at that point?
So, I got told from the registrar went from my first diagnosis with the diagnosis that I had, being in a poor prognosis, was 10 to 30%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But however, those numbers are based on an older population because it's uncommon for young people to get AML. People do get it young, but most of the numbers are over 60. So they don't have the fitness background that I had. Everyone's an individual, and numbers are just numbers. People say, you're terminal, but people live longer than what they say. Mm-hmm. So numbers are just numbers. You don't take them literally, but the numbers that I did get told were 10 to 30%.
Which are not great numbers.
Not great numbers, but numbers are numbers. Mm. I'm Josh Komen, and I've got my own journey, my path, and my story's different to everyone else's. Mm. Yeah. Yeah,
you're a tough fucker, eh? Tough bastard.
Yeah. It's been learnt, but everybody has a tough mental aptitude in them. Mm. Yeah, it's just choices and attitude we take around with what we've been given.
Mm. So run me through. So we're at the point now where you got the second round of leukemia. Mm-hmm. No, because there's so much more. It's just like a layered cake. Yeah. So you get through the second round of leukemia, the second bout of leukemia?
Yeah. So I'm in ICU, I wake up, and then Dr. Gibbons comes in, he goes, great news, you woke up, congratulations, we found you a donor, which was fantastic because I hadn't heard that we had a donor. We had a match at the start before I went into a coma. Awesome. However, she could only donate her stem cells in, 2 to 3 weeks' time. Now, the normal protocol without being in a coma is having 2 months of treatment, then about 2 months off to reconsolidate, get yourself right to go through the treatment that you're going to have to eradicate your immune system, annihilate it, like Nagasaki, dropping the atomic bomb on there, so your immune system doesn't go back, so the new one can come and repopulate. So it's a really tough procedure to go through. They're really
basically putting you to the brink of death.
They are, yep. So I had to have high-dose chemotherapy and high-dose full-body radiation. I was sitting in a glass box where they just annihilate your body to annihilate your immune system. So having 2 weeks from getting out of a coma, I couldn't talk, I couldn't walk. My brother was pushing me around in a wheelchair. I was very, very skinny, like a little alien. And I was like, holy moly, how am I going to get through this? And that's when my breathing meditation practices came in. That's all I could really do. Mm.
Yeah, how were you at the time? Were you sad? You just feel like a broken human?
No, I was just like, how can I get through this? What tools do I have at my disposal to get through this? I couldn't walk or exercise. So I tried to eat as much food to put on weight, and I just went down to the boat shed, Antigua boat shed. The green chair's not there anymore, but there's a green chair, and I just used to close my eyes and visualise myself healthy again, just see myself in the future. And I try to conjure that picture in my mind. Mm. Transplant came. And from a transplant, you can acquire, not everybody, you can acquire this graft-versus-host disease. So it's a graft rejection. So the immune system in my body sees my tissue as foreign and it starts to attack it. Okay, so not everybody gets it, and it can kill you. So you have a treatment that can save your life, but it can take your life. And I got graft-versus-host disease, acute graft-host disease. And I was in a semi-comatose state again for about, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months. I was in isolation again, and I couldn't eat. And I was just sleeping, shitting myself. It was crazy. It was a crazy time. There's too much to talk about there. Yeah. Yeah. But one thing that did sustain me through that was when my mum came over with sparkling water with bubbles, and I couldn't swallow it, but she'd come over and she'd put the straw up to my mouth, and the bubbles would pop through my mouth, just pop, 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 pop. And it was just like these pure, joyous moment of meaning that just sustained me in that period of time. It was like, oh, thanks, Mum. And then put it aside.
Why? Because of how it felt? Or
just how relief? It felt. It was just relief. Yeah, and it was like a de-reflection practice, It just took my attention away from the pain that I was in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you telling me last time about the stem cell transplant. So it's from a young girl in Germany called Hannah.
Yes.
Due to the way these donations are done, it's like shrouded in secrecy. So, she doesn't know who it's going to. You don't know who it's from. But you just named the person Hannah. Yeah,
it was like serendipitous. So, yeah, you don't have to die to have an allogenic stem cell transplant. So the donor gets their immune system stimulated to extract these stem cells. So she's still alive. So we can write letters to one another, but it's kind of edited out about names and where you're from. But I gave her a postcard of the West Coast, and I just wrote that I was a skydiver and I've been to Everest Base Camp, and just a bit about me. The names are out. But when the stem cells came, I just automatically knew she was a girl. I knew she was young, that's all I knew, but I just gave her a name and I said, oh, that's Hannah. So I just called her Hannah.
Yeah, why? Have you thought about that?
No.
Did it just feel like it was a Hannah?
It was just like, an intuition. I just called her Hannah. That's
out of all the names. It's not even a strong German name.
Oh, my cousin, I got a cousin called Hannah.
Right.
Oh, I don't know, I just called her Hannah. Yeah, it just came to me. I was Hannah's coming, that's Hannah. And then what happened was when I sent that thank you letter, she wrote letters back to me. Then I was out after a year. I was in Nelson, and I had a friend working for Skydive Motueka. She emailed me saying, hey, I think we've got an email from your donor. I was like, no, you don't. That's not allowed to happen. But she had emailed all the skydiving centres around New Zealand saying, hey, do you know a guy who's a skydiver who's had an allogenic stem cell transplant? And obviously I was the only one. So.
Oh, but she did that because of the info you provided on the postcard?
Yes, she had done that. So she went that avenue and reached out to me. And it was just awesome. And here her name comes up on the email, Hannah. And I was like, rung up my mum and sister. I'm like, you'll never guess. You'll never, ever guess. I've just got an email from my donor and her name's Hannah.
It's actually Hannah. It's about, like, what are the chances? Seriously.
I know.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You've met her?
Yep, met her a couple of times, yeah. Yep.
Are you going to connect with her when you go to the Transplant Games in Germany? How old is she now?
She was 19. I would say she'd be in her late 20s.
Why did she end up donating?
Good question. So in Germany and in Europe, because we've got European ancestry, the registrar go around the schools and say, oh, do you want to take a saliva sample to be on the registry for a bone marrow donor? And, that year, when I was first diagnosed, they hadn't come around, but during that 13 months, she'd come onto the registry and she'd taken the saliva. She just thought it was a good thing to do. And she never thought she'd be a donor. But, she ended up saving my life.
And what's involved for a donor perspective? It sounds like it'd be more complex than just donating a pint of blood.
Yeah, it's a bit more complex. So they give us a medication to stimulate the immune system to kind of extract the hemopoietic stem cells out of the bone marrow into the blood. So she goes into Dresden where there's an apheresis machine. So it's a bit like dialysis in a way. So they kind of extract her blood, pull the hemopoietic stem cells out, put her blood back in, put those stem cells in a bag, and then it's got 92 hours to get from the extraction, to me in New Zealand.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you remember all the big words? It's like you're a doctor.
No. I mean, I love to know what I've been through and just educate myself around it. So when people do ask the question, I can give them the information. Yeah.
So after you get the stem cells, is that when you get the what's it called, the graft?
Yeah, graft-versus-host disease.
Yeah.
So graft rejection. So my blood DNA is different from my tissue DNA. So my blood DNA has changed. So my DNA's changed. So fun fact about that, Tom, man, if I was about to kill somebody, they don't have me on the registry here in the police station.
You could literally get away with murder.
Yeah, apparently.
So when the pigment in your skin,
Yes.
What causes that?
So that's the Graft-Versus-Host disease. So first it started acutely. It was in my stomach and in my mouth, and I was spewing up all the time. So they put me on high-dose steroids and immunosuppressants to kind of dampen down the effect. Pretty tough medication to be on, especially the steroids. They play with your psychological state a lot, and there's a lot of side effects from that. So that dampers down. They kind of even it out. The immune system's kind of accepting my body with the immunosuppressants, so it's kind of opening up the door a little bit to let the immune system go through. And it was working quite well. And then I got severely sick again. So I went over to Germany to say thank you to Hannah. This is what happened. I went over to Germany and it was very, very cold. But I had to go and say thank you once I got the email. I was like, man, I can't email her. I've got to go say thank you. And I met her. But it was cold over there and I got admitted to Berlin Hospital. I got pneumonia and then I got sent back to New Zealand. And this is when that graft-versus-host disease really started to flare up. And that's when it started like really attacking me and trying to kill me. It was starting, so I got graft-versus-host disease, scleroderma. So it's like a thickening of the tissue. So my fascia and my collagen's like this build-up. So it's like I'm wearing a wetsuit all the time in a way. So it was really compressing against me and I was having these spasms. Some days I couldn't walk for 3 days. I was just locked up. It was just so painful. And then my eyes started to get really irritated. I couldn't produce tears and my vision was going. Had to have some cataract surgery. I've got blood drops now from other people's plasma that go in my eye. And, I wasn't producing saliva, very dry and ulcerated and everything like that. So it was really, really killing me. And that's when the pigmentation started happening. And then I got this thing called trigeminal neuralgia, described as the worst pain known to man, because 20% of people who get this take their life. Phenomenally painful. It was incredibly, it's still physically the worst pain that I've been through. And I was just screaming in the hospital. I have every pain medication you could think of to try and dampen down the effect. So there's a trigeminal nerve that runs down the left side of your face and it was just flared up. And it was starting to attack me there. And my GVHD was just out of control. My body was just fully rejecting me. So I became like a tin man, stuck in my own body. Could barely, people were getting me out of bed, tying my shoes and stuff. So
for how long?
I was like that for about maybe 6-7 months.
Right.
And then after the trigeminal neuralgia, Dr. Ruth Spearing said, this is enough. Amazing lady, Ruth Spearing, she advocated me to get treatment in Melbourne, which we didn't have in New Zealand, called ECP, extracorporeal photopheresis, to kind of dampen down this immune response, this graft-versus-host disease I was carrying. So I got accepted and then I got flown to Melbourne to get treatment. So I was supposed to be there for about 6 months. Mm. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I've heard you, we'll talk a bit about the Melbourne stuff because there's wonderful story in there about how you met your wife. But I heard you on maybe another podcast or maybe a keynote speech. There were times like when you were going to Melbourne where you say you considered like standing in front of a tram.
Yeah, a lot had happened in that time, Dom. A lot had happened. So after my first diagnosis, I had a high value system of love. That was my high value system, and I had a girlfriend. Haven't spoken about this, but I think it's appropriate. I found a girlfriend when I was traveling through Thailand before my skydiving diploma. I met her. She was German, so she came out to be with me through my transplant. She was an amazing girl. We had a great relationship. She's holding my hand through all those trials and tribulations. I had a good connection there. However, it didn't end very well. So when I went to Germany to meet her, I was with my ex-girlfriend living in Berlin. And when I went back, things happened. She's young. She's at university. I don't talk about it because I don't want people to hold judgment against her. But it hurt me hard. It fucked me up because I had this high value system, like a vertical value system. Now I have a horizontal value system. So if one value pulls up, I can block them together like a Tetris game. So that just blew me apart. I've never cried so much after breaking and hearing what happened, what occurred, Listeners can use their own imagination there. Don't have to go into details. Anyways, so breaking up with her just completely destroyed me. So I think from that issue, my graft-versus-host disease flared up from that. And I was completely hurt. And so here's my value system completely shaken up. I've got all this pain, graft-versus-host disease, I'm dying. And yes, I was in Melbourne by myself. My brother was there for the first 2 weeks. Amazing guy, my brother, love you heaps, Jake, helped set me up. And then I was by myself and I was having issues with my heart. And, you know, I was like, who the fuck am I? You know, is someone going to love me? And yeah, I'd stand by the tram and just think, just jump, man. But I couldn't. I'd never do it. I'd never make that choice, but I just really wanted to. I mean, Melbourne was tough, Dom. It really was. Even to go get my groceries, like needles in my eyes. I couldn't produce saliva. I was just locked up like this old man. And all the memories come back of you running, you can't do that, and jumping out of planes and you couldn't do it. But it was that constant struggle. You know, you just constant struggle. It's like, you can't take your life. You can't take it. It's okay. There's an opportunity. It's a constant mantra to yourself, breaking it down to the small components. And I wouldn't go out of my room. I'd have my treatment, go home. I actually befriended a homeless man and just sat next to him and used to have conversations with him. He told me his story. He was just around the corner. And just being in Melbourne for that first 6 to 7 months was hard. I was having issues with my heart. And they did the test, did angiograms, stress tests and that. Nothing was happening. I got sent into intensive care because my troponin levels were up. That's an inflammation of the heart. I was there by myself and I was just so confused and just lost. And then I found what happened was my friend sent me, treatment was going okay. It was going okay, but I hadn't got full relief. And my friend sent me this doco about Wim Hof. And I started kind of doing his method. I'm not a Wim Hof instructor. I just want to put that out there. I don't teach that breathing method. However, it just gave me it just helped me feel a bit better. And I started having cold showers and things like that. So it gave me a bit of a purpose to wake up for. I went to his retreat, one of his first retreats in Australasia. And I was really excited. And I met some really cool people the first night. I sat next to this guy called Lars, and he'd been in Okarito, which was on the west coast, a small town. He was from Sweden. So I was having this cool conversation, connecting with individuals. However, I never got to attend the course itself. I woke up in the morning and had a massive heart attack. Yeah, massive heart attack. And I was like, I'm in this group of people. I'm really excited. My life's just been thrown at me. I'm in Melbourne by myself. And man, I was just heartbroken, literally. Heart attack, literally. Couldn't get out of bed. It took me 40 minutes to ask for help, man, because I was so embarrassed.
Why were you embarrassed?
It's hard it is to talk about. Because I couldn't jump I couldn't jump in front of a tram. I thought, fuck it. Maybe my heart might just stop. So I was there for a while. I just sat there and just fucking take me. But then I just reached out and I said, hey, I need some help. Guy Lawrence, a guy, and he rang the ambulance and I got taken out. And I just had my hand on my face and the ambulance took me to Geelong Hospital. I was so angry, man.
Angry?
Just at life.
Just frustrated. Yeah.
I mean, we've all got the freedom to choose our attitude, but my attitude wasn't good then. And I just vented and the doctor was there and I feel sorry for her. The words that I said to her was no good. And, you know, I had more heart attacks, flipped the ECG upside down. I had to get put into a separate room with security. And
just breaking point, eh? I can tell, yeah, you're still embarrassed now that you were impolite or aggressive to the nurses.
You know, I just... These verbal words, this fire will come out of my mouth, and she's like, I'm not having this. Got put into a separate room with security, and it's just like, man, what the fuck's going on, all this stuff? Is anything going to get any better? But I still had hope. I still had Viktor Frankl. I still had my faith, and that held me together. I still had my mum and my family, and then I got sent back to Peter McCullum Cancer Centre. My haematologist was there, Simon Harris, and he saw me have another 2 heart attacks, ECGs flipped upside down, and sent me over to the Royal Melbourne Hospital in the cardiac unit where I was there for 24 days.
Because there's that saying, this too shall pass, but if you're going through like a shitstorm and it's a 10-year long shitstorm, like it's fucking hard to stay positive, eh?
Fucking hard, man. It's so hard. And negativity is a part of it too, but it's not staying in that state for too long. And I did try and ring Geelong Hospital to say sorry and apologise and everything like that, but it's not staying in that negative state too long. Yeah. And luckily I could pull myself out of that state with the pain and discomfort I was carrying. and just look for the future. Hold on to that hope. Have that courage to continue.
How was your ego at that time, like around your appearance?
I lost complete confidence, Tom. I was embarrassed to go out, man. I looked like an old man. I felt like an old man. Yeah, so trying to reclaim my confidence was a big thing. Try to learn that. But, yeah, it was so tough. So I was in there for 24 days, and this is what I talk about meaning. I was in this room with an Indian girl, and she'd come over to Melbourne to study. And the guy, she'd have a medical defect, and she'd put it on her health insurance. And he was coming in but not helping her. He was an insurance guy saying, no, that it's not going to be funded. And she's like, no, I've put it there. They've already proved it. But he wasn't helping her. So I called him aside, man, and I said, listen, you're not doing your job. Help her out. She's put it on her form. Help her out. Advocate for her. Do your job. Next day, she was all approved and had her surgery. She just broke down in tears and said, thanks. I was like, well, that's not right. Him not doing his job, just turning out for a paycheck. So helping other people helped me through my own process. Yeah.
So was at this part where you're flying backwards and forth from Melbourne that you met your wife?
Yeah.
Sybil,
yeah.
Yeah, I met her in Christchurch 3 years ago. She was 8 months pregnant at the time.
She was.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
This is the craziest, most serendipitous story imaginable.
It really is. It's unfathomable sometimes. I look back from a wide aperture and what the heck, what the heck has just gone on? So I'm in Melbourne Hospital 24 days, had 12 heart attacks in total. The doctor comes in, the Olympics were on in Rio de Janeiro. I had two of my former competitors, Julian Matthews and Hamish Carson, running the 1500. And he comes in and he goes, congratulations, Josh, you won the gold medal for the most spoken about patient in the hospital. And I had to write him a letter. I said, listen, man, I don't care if I live or die. Just make a decision. Back yourself and make a decision. Learn from me as a patient. They hadn't come across a patient like me before.
How do you mean? Meaning?
Like just with my disease and my issues that I had. So they didn't know whether to give me a heart bypass, open me out, cut me open. So they didn't know whether my skin would heal or the artery would heal. So they ended up doing a stent in my left main artery, just stenting it. So job done. After all that time, after discussion and deliberation, I had to encourage him to make that decision. Done deal, got out, and then I was trying to get myself back together. I found this place called Fifth Element Wellness, great place, just transformed my life, yeah. Started doing gut protocols. I was exercising, breaking it down into small components. A great guy called Anthony Messino and Dave O'Brien were helping me out, and I found a good friend called Mark Claw. So I established a community, and I always talk about connection and community is the foundation of health, and it really is. So I was getting this into me when I was having my treatment, and my treatment started to work better because what I was doing outside of my treatment, the inflammation was starting to downregulate, so my treatment would function better. So I was starting to get a bit better, and I was feeling better within myself. Had my first ice bath. I felt absolutely incredible afterwards, and I felt a sense of positivity. Really felt it within my nervous system. So that's why I do cold exposure a lot, and I felt it has an analgesic effect. It really does. Sorry, we've deterred from Sybil, but I just had to talk about how I got myself into talking to people again because I had that component, bit of a community, and I was feeling good inside myself.
So that gave you a bit of confidence.
It did.
But did people, like strangers, like look at you funny? Could you sense people looking at you funny, or?
Yeah, definitely. People would look at you with a double eye, but then again, it's not my responsibility to how they think or look. For sure, I look different. They have the right to look at me a few times. It's my responsibility to project on how they're feeling. Like, it was silly for me to think, they think this, they think that. They can think whatever they want. I just have to think good about myself. And I do now. I do. I don't, it doesn't worry me. It worries me what I feel about myself. That's my concern. So I'm feeling a bit better, more confident, and I'm starting to engage with people. Not too concerned about their kind of reaction to me. So I'm flying back and forth from Melbourne because everything's starting to go well. I still have a whole host of complications, so I have to stay there for 3 months, come back. But on this certain flight, as you spoke about, I meet this amazing person, this amazing girl. She's transformed my life. So we're on the plane, and she comes and sits down, and I say, hey, how are you? And she goes, oh, good, thank you. We have a wee chat, and she's just backpacked around New Zealand. She asked me, what am I up to? I said, I'm seeing my brother, which, he's living in Melbourne at the time now. And then I ask her, what do you do for a job? What do you do? She's from Switzerland. She's traveling around. She's doing her backpacking. And I said, what do you do for a job? What do you do for work in Switzerland? And she said, I'm a cancer nurse, oncology nurse. So this is where your confidence comes back, Dom. I picked up my confidence, and this was my pickup line to her. I said, do you want to come and see some cancer treatment? I'm actually in Melbourne to get some of this treatment.
Sexy.
Really attractive. I don't recommend it to anyone. But yeah, she said, yeah, sure. And I thought she was just being polite. She's an amazing person. I thought she was being polite. And sure enough, I said, meet me at Parliament Building on the top of Burke Street at 10 a.m. And sure enough, she was true to her word. And she was there. And that was the first of our many dates. So, and it's today, I've had a few hundred treatments there. It was the first time it's ever been delayed. So she wanted to hang out with me in the morning. We had a lot in common. We spent the week together.
Yes, so what does your health look like now? You're mostly pretty good. Like, do you still have to go in for, regular checkups or anything like that?
Yep. Yeah. I'm still under medical control. I mean, as I said, after that 10K run, I pushed it a bit too far. I had a few issues. My body turned on me a bit, so I had to adjust my medication. Back in hospital for a little bit. But yeah, I do have issues for sure, but I can handle them mentally. And I'm embracing life for what it has. I mean, I have my amazing wife with me. We have a daughter. I can run again. I mean, shuffle, whatever you want to call it. But I can partake in life, Dom. I can partake in life, and the opportunities that I have, and the people that I've connected with, and everything that's come into my life, and the values that I've set myself, and the person that I am now. I'm just so happy about that. I'm just so grateful that I'm living my true, authentic life with what I've been given. What I've been given, and I'm working with that, not against it.
You are genuinely one of the best people I know. Like your attitude is just so rock solid.
Yeah, but it took a lot of learning. It took a lot of learning, and it took a lot of work. But yes, I am so grateful to be here today, alive and breathing.
And you've been, you'll probably argue this point, but you've been dealt a rough hand.
I have. Absolutely I have. I admit that. But I'm so proud of myself with the way I've dealt with that hand. I've forgiven my ex-girlfriend. We're friends. I've thanked everyone that's come into my life, whether it's good or bad. And I've set myself good values that I've lived up to. And I think that's the most important thing in life. We talk about success, whether it's monetary. For sure, money's something, but it's not everything. But for me, success is, when I've set myself values, my authentic values, who are me, horizontally, and I live up to them. For sure, not all the time, but I'm trying my best. And I can die with peace in my heart. I've tried to be a good husband. I've tried to be a good dad. That I can play with my daughter on the trampoline. That was the first goal, Dom, to get myself back on my feet. To play with her and giggle and laugh and see the growth in her. I've just tried. And if God is up there and he opens up the doors, he just pats me on the back and says, hey, man, you did a good job. You tried your best with the hands you've been given. Yeah.
You've mentioned prayer a couple of times in this chat. Are you a religious man?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about religious. Religious is set of values and things, but yeah, I'm definitely spiritual. I mean, I do believe in God. Whether I don't know what God is, but for me, it's a good orientated direction. Yeah. And I read the Bible. I get real power from reading the verses. Yeah,
were you like this pre-2011?
No. Okay. I first opened up the chapter after reading Viktor Frankl's book, and I read the Bible in hospital. I opened up the book to Joshua, my name, first chapter, Joshua 1, verse 9. Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid nor dismayed, for the Lord God is with you. So that verse has kind of stayed with me. So when I say a practice of gratitude in the morning, that's it right there.
Yeah. When was the last time you got like angry or frustrated or lost your temper with someone?
Oh, I was cutting pumpkin the other night, mate. Far out. I hate cutting pumpkins. Well, no, I mean, I get frustrated. I'm just normal like anybody else, but it's not staying in that frustration for too long.
You seem like one of the most zen people I know, though.
No, talk to my wife. She knows I get frustrated for sure. I am human, man. I am, absolutely. But it's not staying in that point for too long. And that's probably what I've really learned. There's been just down-regulate, control my breathing, focus on what's important. What do you have? Say sorry, forgive, go forward. Yeah.
I sort of find for me personally, like if I find myself starting to get like frustrated or snappy with people, it's often a sign my mental health isn't where it should be.
Yeah.
And it's actually a good little warning sign that I need to, have like a reset or get some ducks in a row.
Yeah, just take a step back and say, why am I thinking this way?
Yeah.
What do I need right now? What's gone on to cause this reaction? And just have a bit of reflecting practice.
What about your mental health?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's amazing from where it was. Absolutely amazing. Sure, as you said, do I get frustrated? Absolutely I do. I wake up, first thing I think about is like, oh no. But then I have to de-reflect. What do I have? Calm myself down, focus. But yeah, mental health is good. It's stable. Yes, I do have suicidal thoughts, especially when I was last year, when I went back, had a few issues with my Graft-Versus-Host Disease. It does come back. But as I said before, I have the ability to not linger there, stay there, and let it consume me. Yeah.
Yeah, a therapist I saw, she asked me if I'd ever had suicidal thoughts, and it's the first time I'd told anyone out loud, and I said, I was bracing myself like I thought I was going to be locked up in a straitjacket and taken to some sort of facility, and I was like, yeah, I have. And she just sort of shrugged her shoulders, and she goes, well, thinking about it and doing it are actually two very, very different things.
Absolutely, correct.
That was a huge, released me of a huge amount of guilt and shame.
Awesome. Oh, I'm glad you saw someone, man.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to see somebody? And why did you decide to see someone?
45 years. I don't know. I was, it was way longer than what it should have been. And ultimately, there was a friend of mine that like booked a therapist behind my back and said, you're fucking going to a therapist. I was just nervous I don't know, like I thought you'd go in there and I wasn't sure where to start or how you'd start, or I was depressed, but I didn't even know why. I couldn't tell you why, and I felt guilty about feeling depressed because it's like, well, fucking like Josh is, Josh is happier than me, and he's got a lot to be unhappy about, for example, or you know what I mean. So you'd feel guilty that you're feeling depressed, and you're like, I've got no reason to be sad about anything. But therapy was it was really, really good. It just gives you a different way of reframing and looking at different things. And I felt like an idiot for putting it off for so long.
No, not at all. Life's hard, mate. We've all got our own challenges, whether you got a heap of money or whether you don't. We've all got challenges to face. But as you just stated, feeling guilty about going to talk to somebody, we go to the gym to build muscle. Why don't we go and speak to someone to build mental strength? Yeah. Why don't we do that? It should be a common norm. And I highly advocate that. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, it's like a personal trainer for the neck up, I say.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep.
Also, who doesn't like talking about themselves for an hour? That's great.
Oh yeah, it can get a bit annoying. Yeah.
I mentioned you were coming, and I got some questions from people on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
How can someone develop a more resilient mindset when facing adversity?
That's a really good question. I've just finished reading a book a while ago called Resilience, the science behind overcoming life's challenges. Great book to read. There's 10 steps in there, what we can do, and a lot of them is what we've discussed on. One's like community, having connections, finding well-being practices, finding meaning in your life, adopting a breathing practice to down-regulate a bit, to be able to assess yourself. Also to, voluntarily doing hard things builds resilience as well. When that fear comes in, just go into it, lean into it a little bit, try it, test it, and then where you're at, give that a go. So that's part of those 10 factors as well. So for me, having that community base, courage comes from encouragement. That's where it comes from. That builds resilience. Communication, that positive communication. And reading books, getting perspective, that's been part of it as well. That was in the 10 steps. So reading, breathing, finding a practice for yourself, leaning into hard things. That's what I recommend.
Yeah, because you can train yourself to be more resilient, eh?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think it's something that you do have to actively sort of work on.
Yeah.
How can we start to treat every day as a gift?
Take a bit of time for yourself. Close your eyes and see yourself on top of a mountain. Look at where you've been. Look at the highs in your life. those real peak moments on the mountain. Look at the lows. Ask yourself what you've learned. And then come back to where you are and go forward.
What role does gratitude play in overall well-being and happiness?
There's a lot to do with gratitude there. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, gratitude just gives you a sense of what you do have in your life right now. And if we are living in New Zealand, in this amazing country, we do have a lot around us, even though the aperture might be narrow. We've had a lot of opportunities. We get given a lot. Yeah. So that gratitude of just being where you are right now, of what you do have, really gives you a good perspective of how to go forward.
What does the phrase living fully mean to you?
Living fully, I think just living up to your values that you set yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I truly believe that. Yep, living fully. It's not essentially going out there and making an awesome bucket list and achieving them. It's just being present in the moment, understanding who you are, set some values for yourself that you truly believe and action them. That's what I think living a full life is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your values? Like when it comes to absolute cornerstones?
Yeah, so our family, we've developed a value system, so it's called BASIC. We've got to break things down to a basic component. So B is belief. We both believe in God and we both believe in each other. You know, that's one belief. And then we have A, which is attitude we spoke about, always looking for a positive attitude. And then S is simple, just breaking things down into its simple component. So we're not getting too overwhelmed. What can we control? What can't we control? I is for internal, so looking after our health and well-being. So that's really important for our family. And then the 3 C's at the end is connection, communication, and courage. So obviously we've spoken connection and communication over the podcast, but courage too. Courage to lean into those hard things. So they're our kind of basic values for our family. That's what I have. And it's written down horizontally. So there's no one value that supersedes the other. Yeah.
What a great answer. God, I'm so pleased I asked that question. I thought you'd have an answer for it. I didn't realise it would be so...
Our values are important to me,
Yeah,
Don. Yeah, they are. And that's really good for our family. Yeah. Yeah.
For someone going through their darkest moments, what advice would you give them?
Reach out for help. You know, take your time for a bit and just reach out for somebody. Just ring them up, whether you're crying, whatever is going on. Just have a conversation just to share that load. Yeah, that's the best thing we can do.
And you, what's your inner voice like? Are you quite kind to yourself?
Yeah, I am pretty kind to myself. Yeah. I mean, I make mistakes like everybody, but it's not lingering in that mistake problem for too long. And I say, hey, you tried your best with what you knew. You're not perfect. Try again. Yeah. Viktor Frankl's got a great quote about that, actually, about mistakes. He's like, live as if you're living the first time, as if you're acting for the second time as wrongly as you're about to act now. So it kind of brings you into that moment. We're not perfect, but you've got a second chance to make amends on that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does a bad day look like for you now?
A bad day for me, Dom, is when my body's just completely seized up through the night. I've had sleep deprivation. I'm in, real discomfort, and I have to contend with that. And I've done a couple of keynote talks where that's been the issue, and I'm turned up, and I probably haven't delivered my best talk or connected with an individual that I probably should have been listening because I'm more interoceptively aware of where my pain was. Yeah, that's a pretty bad day. Or if I haven't spoken to my wife appropriately or something like that.
Yeah, best and worst habits, what would they be?
Best habits, consistency, determination.
Yeah.
That's my best habit. Worst habits, I mean, your best habits can be your worst habits. My determination can kind of supersede my wife, what she's thinking, and, that causes a bit of conflict. She'll pull me back a lot, which is good. She keeps me accountable. So, I think your best habits sometimes work out to be your worst habits. Yeah.
What are you most afraid of?
Not living an authentic life, not living up to my meaning, potential within this world while I've got life. And, I'm not scared of dying. I'm not fearful of that. We're all dying slowly, but I am concerned about not living an authentic life and not being the role model for my daughter and for her to live her life as well. Yeah,
what's she like? She's I don't think I've met her.
I think you met her when Sybil was pregnant.
Sybil was 8 months pregnant at the time. So now she's like walking and saying words and talking.
Oh, she's walking, mate. She's an animal on the scooter. She's she's great. She is just a bundle of life. She speaks 2 languages. She's now my teacher. She'll tell me off if I'm not speaking German properly. No, she's just such an amazing girl, and her middle name is Maya Hannah from our donor too. So, I mean, she loves the trampolines, she loves jumping, she loves climbing. She's just a typical kid. She frustrates the heck out of you, but then she just brings such life into your world, you know. She is the shining light within our family.
Has she expressed any interest in getting in your ice bath yet?
Yeah. She goes, Dad, ice bath, and put me in, but she'll put her legs in and come back out. She loves to watch too. But cold dada. But yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, you're a good role model.
She'll make her own choices around that. We don't force her.
What about regrets?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that Ben issue is a regret. Maybe some of the decisions I've made, but...
Oh, the Thailand thing?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, you need to move on from that.
For sure I do, but it still lingers with me.
Yeah.
I don't like to hurt my friends and put them in that position. Yeah. I mean, regrets... I mean, the opportunities, the situation has arisen, and I've done the best that I can with the knowledge that I've been given. And as a young kid, you don't know everything. I've made some shit choices, but I tried my best with what I knew. Could have been better, for sure, but I'm trying to work on that to go forward. Yeah.
What about future goals?
Yep.
Where do you see yourself in 10, 20, 30 years?
It's a great question, man. Yeah, obviously a good cohesive family. That's really important.
More kids, perhaps?
Probably, maybe.
Have you got more sperm frozen?
Yeah, it's like going to McDonald's, Dom. I just have to rock up, make my order. They're all nice.
It's like the worst. This snow cone tastes really funny.
No, for sure. I love to be... I'm working on my speaking skills. I did a bit of work with Jason Gunn, and I'm trying to get my speaking skills up to scratch. I love to be an international speaker.
You do a lot of keynotes, eh?
I've done a few keynotes now. Yeah, I wouldn't say a lot, but I've done a few, and I'm working on that. Really makes me quite anxious and nervous, especially talking about what I've been through. But, you know, having those conversations afterwards are really meaningful to me. In fact, maybe we could talk about this. You had a guest on your podcast, and I think it is appropriate. His name's Jackson Garden-Bishop. He was on your podcast. So I did my first kind of significant talk to the Highlanders. And for me, connection is key. And I didn't know what to expect. I really didn't. I was in a professional environment, didn't know what to expect. Did my talk. And it was like a beehive afterwards. All these players come up, and it was just incredible. I was blown away. I didn't know what to expect. There's always people at the end of a talk that come up and share with you. So it doesn't come about rugby. It's not about rugby. However, there was one guy who waited till everyone had dispersed. And his name was Connor Garden-Bishop. And I've never met him before. I've watched him on TV. And you make it, you know. And he came up to me, and we had a moment of meaning. It wasn't about rugby. I got to saw Connor for who he was. And he spoke about, what do you do if you're two, because he had twins, he had twins. What do you do if your girls are in pain or agony? And I just said, you know, you look at them, hold their hand and say, I love you. That's what I do with my girl. And we just both crying. We had a connection. We had a moment. We were there for 10 to 12 minutes. We wrote a few messages afterwards. But that's the beauty of having these talks and connection. He's a rugby player, but I got to saw Connor for who he was in that moment. And that's very, very special. It's very special. And it's so sad that he's not with us today. It hit me. I was up in Auckland when I was doing a talk for the Blood Leukemia Foundation, just reading about it. However, I got to see Connor not as a rugby player, but for the person who he was. So, bless you, Connor. Thank you for that moment, and condolences to the family.
Yeah, it was his brother, Jackson, that I had on the podcast. He plays rugby for Moana Pacifica now. I think Connor, it was just like an unexplained medical event. Like, it's still being explored by coroners, but I think it was like just a heart attack overnight or something. And
yeah, I'm not
it's
too
just
sure.
Rocked the family. Like, you see the ripple effect it has. It's massive.
Yeah, absolutely massive. But yeah, great guy.
3 words that family or friends would use to describe you.
Probably encouraging, motivating, and stubborn. Yeah, that's what I would say.
But if it wasn't for the stubbornness, you probably wouldn't be alive today, right?
Yeah, I mean, that part
it's
of me.
your superpower.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that stubbornness has really helped me, but it's also hindered me as well. It really has. So just kind of finding the happy medium in there. Yeah.
Do you like what you see when you look in the mirror now?
I do, Dom. Yeah, I do, mate. It's taken a while for sure, but I look at myself in the mirror, look at my eyes and see my soul, and look what I've achieved and what I've got in my life and what I've overcome, for sure. I do. I really love myself, man.
Yeah, and when you have a conversation with you feel like you're looking into the other person's soul. Definitely feels that way.
Yeah.
When you speak with people, it's like a real connection, always.
Thank you. No, I mean, that's what I would try to do, and that's what I've learned from Viktor Frankl. I mean, that's essentially what he's trying to do with his work, what he's left in this world. So, yeah, I think, as I said, with Connor, it's not about the rugby or Dom Harvey, the podcast. It's the person that's made him through all his adversities, through all his triumphs. What's made you you? Let's talk about that. Yeah. And
adversity is a part of life. Like suffering is part of life. Maybe not to the degree that you've had to go through, but
no, but hardship's a part of life.
Yeah.
And we often make assumptions about people with a lot of money. They're still going through hard things. It's just different from the other person, So, how do we overcome those hard things? How do we overcome those hard things? Have the conversations, get a perspective, be patient, be persistent, persevere. Yeah.
Well, Josh Komen, this has been great. Part 2. I'm so proud of you, and I'm proud to call you a mate.
Yeah, thank you, Dom, and likewise. It's just awesome to connect with you again. It always is, and to have that first conversation in your hotel room to this awesome studio that you got, mate, and what you were doing for other people. What you're doing for other people, I need to say this too. I've got a friend who's in the Transplant Games. His name's Commonwealth Games. He started running after his kidney transplant because he read your book. He picked up your book about running and he thought, wow, this Don Ivy's pretty cool. He sent you a message too. But I want to give him a shout out because you have helped him get back on his feet, and now he's running at the World Transplant Games, and he's doing phenomenal work. He's raising money for Ranui House. He's set up a bit of a fundraising event in Nelson. Great guy. So...
Fuck, that is so cool.
Reading your book, Dom.
Unbelievable. Someone's read it outside of my own family.
Yeah, but thank you for doing that, and I know you appreciate that.
Yeah. Look, if you've been listening to this podcast and you're like, I want to read a book, please look for Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, not Running a Love Story by Dom Harvey. That would be my parting words. Hey, Josh, this has been great, mate. It's been so cool, and thank you for... coming back on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
No, thanks for asking me, and thanks for having me back on, man. It's always good to connect, Dom. And just a quick shout out, the World Transplant Game team are looking for a small sponsor to help with the uniforms. If anyone out there is keen to get involved, give me a message and we can sort something out. So thank you. Thank you, Dom. It's good to see you, bro. It really is.
You too, mate. Whenever I pick up my phone and there's a voice note from you, I always save it until I'm in a nice quiet spot so I can listen to it, because I know it's going to be something deep and profound. And something that's always going to make me feel better.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, love you, Joshy.
Keep breathing, brother. Love you, man.